Okay, most of you guys are done with the in-class activity. I would like you to keep that paper out and grab your notes. I want them side by side. It's okay if you didn't finish. I think most of you observed some patterns. We're going to take what we observed and we're going to fill out this table or box at the bottom of the first page of 9-4. We'll probably get through the first page of notes today and we'll do the second page the next day. So rotation formulas. These will only work if you're rotating counterclockwise. If you ever see a CC, that means counterclock. You know, the clock moves this way. So counterclock, rotating the other way. So these formulas only work if we're rotating, and then we're going to be rotating counterclockwise about the origin. That's why the origin never moved, because that's what we're spinning around. So let's look at your patterns that you noticed. The very first time you rotated in that activity, it was 90 degrees counterclockwise. What happened with our X's and Y's? They flip-flopped. And then what else? The Y became negative, yes. It's just what happens every single time. Then you rotated 90 and 90 more, which makes 180. What happened then to the old X's and Y's? Yeah. Yep, but the same order? Yep. It became negative X, negative Y. I think everybody got to the last one. Luis, did you get a pattern for the last one, the 270? What happened there? Were they in opposite orders?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the negative. The negative also.
Okay, so it was on the X. Okay, thanks. Yep. So I will have these formulas on the board for you for a quiz. You can use them anytime you're rotating about the origin. So if we look at our problems, there's 4 of them to start. You probably haven't seen this notation before, but now you are. Number 1, capital R, rotate. What are we going to rotate around? 0, 0. How far? 90 degrees clockwise. We're going to skip number 2 for right now because we're rotating around the 0.51. Number 3, you're rotating around 2, 2. And then we'll do number 4 in a minute since we're rotating around 0, 0. Okay, one more thing before we do that. You'll notice all of these formulas are in counterclock. So what happens if a quiz or homework tells us to rotate clockwise? It's like the same thing. Can you expand on that?
On this paper. What happened if you turned your pad in paper 180 degrees counterclockwise? It's the same. Like clockwise, it's the same as 270 degrees.
Yeah. So if I were to rotate 90 degrees counterclockwise, the opposite way the clock moves, that's the same as going 90, 180, 270 clockwise. Okay, so if it says move clockwise, 270 clockwise is the same as 90 counterclock. I don't know if you want to make a note on that somewhere. So this one here, 270 counterclock is the same as 90 clockwise. So if that is confusing, you can watch me. I'll do it up here. If I move 90 clockwise, I face this board over here. If I move 270 this way, that'd be 90, 180, 270. I end in the same spot. You can rotate either way. It's just going to be 90 one way and 270 the other way. Okay, let's do number 1. We're not going to use the patty paper, although it would be allowed on a quiz or test. We're going to use the formulas. So since we're rotating about the origin, 90-degree clockwise is the same as 270 counterclock. So I'm going to copy my formula for 270 counterclock. That was... Did I copy that one right? That's the right one for 270? Okay. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to write out our points, and then we're going to apply that formula. So I'm going to have P, Q, R. P is negative 6, 3. Q is 0, 0. R, negative 6, 0. My advice, I've said this before, I would not do P prime, then Q prime, then R prime. I would fill out this column first. So what I need to do is I need to go grab the old Y value. The Y value was 3, 0, 0. Now I'll fill in the second column. I'm going to take the old X, but I have to add a negative to it. So it was negative 6. Put a negative with that. It's now positive 6. Put a negative with 0. It's still 0. Put a negative with this X. I get positive 6. Okay, let's plot those 3 points and label them. And your answer should look reasonable. That looks like a 90-degree rotation, the way the clock moves. The only point that does not move is 0, 0. We're going to skip 2 for now. Let's do number 3. I'm going to have you do it on your own. Oh, sorry, not 3, 4. Because we're rotating about the origin, we're going to use the formula. So copy your formula and write your points. Check and see if it looks reasonable. We're going 90 the opposite way the clock moves. That looks about right. All my points are labeled. You can decide if you like the formula better. It's a little bit more writing. You have a lot of points to write, but it saves you time from tracing and cutting. Okay, let's go back to the ones we skipped then. Number 2. We cannot use the formula since we're rotating around the 0.51. Let's kind of darken in the 0.51. Happens to be point R. That means R is not going to move. Not the origin this time. That will move. R is not going to move. You can kind of visualize this before you start. We're going to spin around R 90 degrees, opposite way the clock moves. It's just going to kind of fall down. If you feel comfortable freehanding and you can do it accurately, that's fine. I would use patty paper. I would trace it, put the labels on the inside, cut it out. So not like the in-class activity where we turned the whole paper with the X and Y axis, just like we did yesterday, the day before. Trace it, cut it, rotate it. Go ahead and work on that. So I don't know that you want to write the formulas because these formulas only work if you're rotating around 0, 0. So because we're not doing 0, 0, you either have to like visualize it. Some are good at that, some just aren't. So you have to visualize, okay, R's going to stay in place, it's going to just swing down. You can kind of do that in your head. You can draw it. Otherwise, you would do the patty paper like we did yesterday. You just trace it, cut it, and then. When you're done with 2, you can do number 3. You'll notice 3 doesn't have points. That's no problem. You can always put some points on. For this one, you'll be rotating around 2, 2. So your options are not the formulas. Your options are visualize it, freehand it, if you can accurately, or trace it, cut it, and actually spin the patty paper. Are you using formulas?
No, most don't. Rotate.
Yeah, so if you're rotating around R.
Yeah, because R is